It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS, AM 1160, 101.1 FM. Robyn Gorman is with us this morning. Candidate for Indiana County Commissioner. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm terrific, thanks.
We haven't had you in the studio for a while, so it's good to catch up with you.
Thank you.
And now we're talking about something completely different. This is not IUP related at all.
It is not. And you know, so many people have embraced me. It's just been positively overwhelming. But they either say to me, "Are you for real?" And it's really funny. I've spent 20 years at IUP and I love it. But I don't think anyone ever saw me perhaps leaving IUP. So This is a right next step for me and I'm having fun.
Oh, good. That's the important part of it, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
So what goes into the decision to run for county commissioner? It's not something that you arrive at lightly.
Oh, boy, Todd, that is so true. And I'm a thinker and a planner, so this came upon me rather quickly. I was actually campaign chairing for someone else in the fall. They backed out. I didn't know it until late in the game. Some folks in the community came to me and said, you know, if you've ever thought about doing something like this, the time is now. And oddly, I had thought a lot about it, and only because of the concern when we even thought that Rod Ruddick may not come back and do re-election. And we were concerned about Mike as well as to whether or not he would run again. And so when they both announced that they were going, I had some real concerns about, you know, I've worked with Bernie Smith, I've worked with Patty Vanko, I've worked with the commissioners over the years, and what I say is they've done hard work and heavy lifts. It's not an easy job, but they've done good by Indiana County, and I'm very concerned about all the forward progress, and I don't want to see that go backward. So I want to keep the momentum moving forward. I think I can do that. And I think I can do it well. So I jumped in.
One of the things that you would bring to the race is an IUP perspective that maybe in the past we've not had, or certainly not had to the degree that you have with your position at IUP. How does that work into, I think there are a lot of people who don't realize the connection between IUP and the way that the county operates.
Very much so. Very astute. That can be both a positive and a negative for me as I'm out knocking on doors in the campaign trail. 20 years at IUP, being able to understand the ethicalness of a taxpayer's dollar is very important. So there's a lot of that goes on at IUP with enrollment and how we enroll someone who can be successful in a 4-year with a lot of money that they're laying down or their parents. We have 7 unions at IUP, so we do a lot of union negotiations and contract issues that come up year after year. So there's a lot of alignment, but there's also the economic value of what Indiana IUP brings to the community. So there's a lot of ties, but what I will say to you is, I don't want people to define me by my role at IUP only. So I grew up on a farm. I'm a farm girl, so I know what hard work is, and what you put into it's what you get out of it. I am a big Second Amendment supporter. I'm a avid fly fisher woman. I absolutely never knew that I would love fly fishing as much as I do. So there's a lot of things that I love about why I choose to live in Indiana County in this state that people don't see in my IUP role. So
Robyn Gorman is with us. She is a candidate for Indiana County Commissioner, will be on the ballot in the spring primary. What are some of the big issues that Indiana County faces right now that concern you most?
So I'm just going to go backwards to go forward. So I'm going to say how fortunate we are that we elected Jim Struzzi as our representative of the 62nd District. I was listening to him earlier, and I cannot tell you how happy I am to hear that property school tax is going to be an issue again, and that they have a Republican caucus around this. I will tell you that is the biggest thing that people are talking to me about, obviously. And with the past tax reassessment, which was a heavy lift for our commissioners, this is a huge issue for people. And so here's my learning right now as I'm out talking to people. I live, breathe, drink, and IUP right now because that's what I do. Other people don't, and they have real things that impact their lives that matter to them. And this issue by far is the top of the game. So I've been telling people everywhere, I can't solve it alone. I have to work with our state reps to do that, but I will be Indiana County's biggest voice on this. I am a citizen in this county. I have watched my property taxes go up, not down. I think the first thing that we all need to understand and be transparent about is, where is the money going? Gambling was brought in. We were told that our school taxes were going to go down. A lot of people hadn't. And then, of course, the reassessment caused a lot of other people to pay much more. And I'm also just at my core a believer that the Constitution says when you pay for your land and your property, you own it, and you shouldn't have to keep it by having to pay the amount of taxes we are every year. So there needs to be some balance and some equitability. I will also say to you, it's not that easy. So if we take the budget and we lose that funding, where does everything that we love or people need to have in health and human services and all of the other things that we're so fortunate here in Indiana to take care of, where does that come from? So something either has to go, which means someone else is impacted and doesn't have services or something that they truly need, or somehow we have to find a balance in how we have no school property tax, but perhaps, as Dave Reed and others have talked about in the past, an income or a sales tax or a combination thereof.
In our monthly conversations with our current Board of Commissioners, one of the things they emphasize is that a county only has one mechanism, legally one mechanism, by which it can raise revenue.
That is correct.
And that's property tax.
That is correct.
Yeah.
And that is why that issue is so complicated. And I really don't like complicated. I like practical. I like to break things down and say, okay, how do we get to solution? But that is absolutely a fact. And that's why if we don't have it, if it goes away, and I want it to, for the right reasons for our people, our citizens all across the county, but how do we replace it?
Yeah. Yeah. Now, as a school funding mechanism, that's one thing. And maybe Harrisburg approaches it that way, as a school funding mechanism, while leaving it in place for counties. But that's one issue. There are so many others that people are talking about right now. Workforce development, opioids, all of these things, they all get mixed into the pot, and everybody has to approach each of those issues and take each one seriously.
You got it. And that's why it was just so great to hear Jim before me. So let's talk about workforce and economic development, because if there is one platform I can stand on and say, I'm your lady for commissioner, it is that issue. So I've spent my whole life. I've worked with industry, in fact, across the nation, not just in Pennsylvania, but primarily our Pennsylvania companies. And I've been in education, which is really strange. I've been on both sides of the issue. So what I will say to you is, it's not easy either. There's no quick fix. I saw 25 years ago that this was coming at us. Even at that time, as I was talking with industries, you have to remember, industry has a company to run. They have products to get out the door. They have shareholders to answer to. And it is not easy to take people off of lines, no matter what their business is, and say, I have to put you into training. But sometimes, in order to retain those employees and be able to have much more effective productivity at whatever they're producing or servicing, they have to do that. That builds morale, that retains their skill base, and continues sustainability. On the other side, sometimes companies, and I say this very kindly, but they want to throw money at a solution instead of solving the root causes. And then education on the other side wants to sort of throw training or education to them and say, this is your quick fix, this is what you need. And they really don't understand what they really do need to fix problems or advance or excel the succession of their workforce. So it's a big issue. The other thing, what I will tell you is, I have a heart where our existing companies are, so the ones that have been in this county for decades and served the test of time. So when we do get new industries, the concern is because they have the qualified workforce that's been in place, that there will be some jumping over to, and then they lose their jobs and they have to replace, and there's a cost for that. So it's not an easy issue, but the point is we do need jobs, and we do need to figure out ways for our unemployed to be able to fill those jobs. So is that the career link and the types of training for people who are unemployed right now that can go into a job? There are also barriers on the peripheral of the county for people that don't have transportation but could absolutely and want to work. How do we help those issues? And there are services in our county that can provide those things. So we need to just start, we were talking about this yesterday as a CEO, a county leadership with our commissioners, with our tourist bureau, with our chamber, Jim Struzzi's office, Byron Stoffer from the planning office. And this is going to take a we approach. This is a team approach for our county. You hear Jim, our state rep, and this is a Commonwealth issue on the Republican side. We really have to dig down deep, and we have to figure out how to solve the workforce getting into jobs issue, and it's the only way we're going to attract more business to us. If we say we have a ready qualified workforce and we struggle to get there, businesses are going to know that, and so that's one of their key factors in why they locate anywhere.
She is Robyn Gorman. She's running for Indiana County Commissioner. Anything else we need to pass along to folks? I'm sure you have a website, and you're ready to roll with that.
Actually, I am just getting geared up. I told you I was late in the game, but I'm rolling. So my website is almost finished. It should be out tomorrow or the next day. I can be emailed at friendsofrobyngorman@gmail.com. And I am on the fundraising and the campaign trail.
There you go. What's the website going to be?
You know what? I haven't looked at the draft to specifically be able to tell you that.
Okay.
What I will tell you is it's really funny. People keep saying, well, what's your slogan? What's your campaign going to be? And for me, it's all about Indiana County.
There you go. Works for me. She's Robyn Gorman. She's running for Indiana County Commissioner. Thanks so much for coming in to visit with us.
Thanks for having me today.
We appreciate it. We have had, I think, all but one of the declared candidates for County Commissioner on the air with us. That other one is coming up later in the month at his request. And so we'll continue to follow it right through the election season.